Hello and welcome to the Star Wars After Show presented by Verizon. I'm Andy Gutierrez, co-host of the Star Wars Show, and today on the show we are talking about Marvel Comics with a special guest, assistant editor from Marvel Comics, Heather Antos. And joining us today are my esteemed panel of Lucasfilm employees and Star Wars mega fans, Justin Wolger, social engagement strategist for StarWars.com, and Matt Martin of the Lucasfilm Story Group. Thanks for joining us, Heather. It's nice to have some fresh blood.
Yeah, fresh. I don't know. That sounds
daunting.
That
makes it way worse. Don't be intimidated. This show's not intimidating at all.
No.
No, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to get to do this. Yeah.
So you work on the whole gamut of Star Wars comics.
I do, yeah. I'm the assistant editor on the entire line, and then I'm the full editor on the Force Awakens adaptation.
Nice.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's weird because I was a huge fan, growing up of Star Wars. I used to play, Princess Leia on the playground in elementary school, and my school lunches, I would sit with my friends and these are our Star Wars stories. Like, we would love to see, Han go one-on-one on Vader, and it's weird getting to do that as a job now. You know? It's super cool.
Yeah, it never gets old. It's very surreal. I think.
Yeah, extremely.
An interesting topic to hit on is that Darth Vader is going to be coming to an end soon, and that was an awesome series, super popular.
Yeah.
Do you guys have favorite moments from that series?
Oh gosh, I mean, the introduction of Afra will always be one of my favorite moments because one, she's just a super cool character, and no one expected her to take off in the manner of which she did. I mean, she really struck a chord with the fans in the right way, but she's just also just super cool, and that very almost Mission Impossible-esque introduction that she has, where she's sneaking through the lasers and everything. It's super fun, and you never know what you're gonna get with her.
Yeah.
And so watching her, survive the series with Vader has just been so much fun.
Since Marvel has come back on board, heading up all of the Star Wars comics, there's been a ton of new amazing content and storylines coming out. Do you guys think that has helped rejuvenate comic reading as part of our community?
I think it's been such an interesting experience getting to see it on, the publisher side of the table versus, a few years ago I was just a fan reading the comics, and it's so fascinating because we're getting people write to us and tweeting us and everything and be like, I've never walked into a comic store in my life, but we had the new #1 coming out, right before Force Awakens, and it was, it's the best time to be a Star Wars fan, and so we're getting all of these new readers, and it's just been great for the comic industry as a whole because you're having people walk into the store and looking at other books that are there.
I mean, that was what got me to walk into my neighborhood comic store for the first time, which is a super cool store, so I'm really glad I did, but I was hunting for variant covers.
Right.
And I mean, you started me on comics with Guardians. But,
Yeah.
the Star Wars kind of took over, obviously.
Totally.
I love the relevance that Marvel has had to the storytelling since they resumed publishing Star Wars comics. Lando, to me, is the perfect example.
Oh, gosh, I love
you take a character who you tend to box, I think, Star Wars characters. Oh, it's Lando. He's smooth, and he's just, the casual guy who happens to be a hero. But that comic takes his character and expands him, at least to me, more than he's been expanded in the last 15 years. You have his friendship with Lobot, and after you read that, it's impossible not to watch The Empire Strikes Back and see that.
Absolutely, that was one of the coolest things about that particular miniseries that we did, is Charles Soule really, oh yeah, it's about Lando and let's expand upon his character and humanize him a little bit more, but then beyond that, totally developing Lobot in the way that he did and breaks your heart what happens. No spoilers, but you guys have,
That's
you
on my
have to
list
read
of
it.
comics I can never read again.
Right,
it hurts.
it's so good though,
Yeah.
and it makes you, when you go back and you watch Empire and you watch Return of the Jedi, you completely rethink those characters and their interactions, and that's a cool thing that the comics have done.
It kind of opens your eyes to new details and it makes you rethink things. It kind of it enhances your understanding of the films on a totally new level.
That's, as a longtime Star Wars fan, that's the greatest gift you can ever give somebody, because if you're watching a movie for almost 40 years now, you've seen it a million times, but after you read something like Lando, you can go back and it's the same movie, but there's a whole different layer of context.
Yeah.
And I think that Marvel has done a really good job of bringing relevance to all of their titles, so that it's not just you can pick up this comic and enjoy the story, which you can do.
Right.
But after you read it, you go back to the core of where your fandom starts or continues, and it's not quite the same as you left it.
Moving on to the Rebel soundtrack, which we just announced this week. People have been demanding this for so long. Yeah, you've seen it. And finally, we're getting it. So we get 2 different releases, season 1 and season 2, different dates. It's been so good. Do you guys have any highlights from the show and the soundtrack? Because I know mine.
I definitely
and I know
do. It's probably
we have
the
same
same.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the finale.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's hard to watch because they make it, the music makes it feel so important. And I saw like early iterations of that where they were using temp tracks, and it was like, yeah, this is cool, this is a good way to end. And then when I saw the final version with the real music, I'm like, no!
Yeah, and it's such a simple scene.
Yeah.
And that track just is like, oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, viewers won't know this, but whenever we have like internal like sizzle reels and stuff, the video editors always use that. And like, there was a recap from Celebration, and like I'm just sitting next to you watching it, and I just turn and I'm like, this is an emotionally irresponsible choice.
Why did you use this song?
It makes me cry every time. So good.
You know, another, you probably actually have this. Are you going to say Empire Day? Because
I'm
that's
not-
the most Justin
okay.
song in the world.
It's not. It's Glory of the Empire, and yes, it is the most.
Actually.
It is the most Justin song in the world. I love that. I love that he made the Imperial March the anthem of the Empire. That was perfect, because in my headcanon I had thought that anyway for so many years. To hear a different arrangement of it was beautiful. And yes, I go to StarWars.com regularly to listen to that track because you can't get it anywhere else right now.
But you will soon.
Yes, that's true. The other one that I would mention, aside from the finale one, which you're absolutely right, is probably, in my opinion, the best, is when they are going to, and I can't remember the track, but they're going through the void where the Lasat secret homeworld is.
Into the into the anomaly.
Yes.
Where are you guys getting these song titles?
Because I knew that one, and a lot of people were talking about it when
I
that's.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these song titles.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That makes it
I'll
hard to
hum
talk
everything.
about.
Right?
That one's beautiful, and
Yeah.
I remember watching that episode for the first time, and it was right after, or very soon after that sequence, they went to a commercial break. It's probably the only time when I'm watching a TV show that I've ever gone back to watch what happened right before the commercial break, just because the way the music marries up with the scene,
Yeah.
and then the backstory it's perfect.
Totally. That was another one where seeing it with the temp just didn't do it justice. Where I'm like, okay, this is cool, and then you see it with the music that it's intended to have, and it amps it up like 100-fold.
Well, it was such a different kind of track than we're used to. I mean, with the strings and.
Oh my god, I just thought of another thing. I forgot all about my real favorite, Zeb. The song that Zeb is playing on his boombox.
When they have their bro moment.
Yeah, the like Def Leppard song. Oh my god, it's so good.
So funny. That's
It's
such a
so
funny
perfect.
moment.
But the fact that like glam 80s hair metal is now in Star Wars,
And of
it
course,
makes me so happy.
canon.
Exactly.
And of course, that's what Zeb would listen
Yeah.
to.
Like it totally fits.
When we like first saw that episode before, like right before it came out, we were like, oh, I hope that's the final track. Like, I hope that's not just 10.
We may be the only franchise in the history of mankind to put out a soundtrack to a book.
What book got a soundtrack?
Shadows of the Empire.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a great soundtrack.
It is a
Learn
great
something new every
soundtrack.
day.
Joel
Wait,
McNeely. Yeah.
were you supposed to like listen to it while you're reading? Like, what if you're a
That's
fast
what I
reader? What if
did.
it's-
Did it enhance the
Oh,
experience?
it totally did.
But do you have to like read it at like a?
It doesn't have
Speed?
like.
Like,
Yeah.
is there
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't have like a turn the page at this chime or anything like that.
well, it should.
Yeah.
Some of those tracks, though, you can see the action as it happens.
Yeah.
My favorite one is Night Skies, because I can track the movements of all the people who are supposed to be in the scene across
Yeah.
different locations based on where the music is. There's a segment where Prince Shizor has a theme, and it transitions into Darth Vader's theme in this track. And in the book, if you're reading it, it goes from Prince Shizor being in his home to Darth Vader being in his home, and they're separated not by this vast distance. And you can see like a George Lucas wipe across the screen as Darth Vader steps into the. I swear, when you listen to this track, you will hear it.
You are
It's
such
amazing.
a nerd.
I am. It's awesome.
It's totally true. Like, they put so much thought into this soundtrack. Like, they didn't have to. They could have phoned that in and no one would have thought anything of it.
Well, I'm gonna go and get Shadows of the Empire and that soundtrack because that sounds like a really fun
Really
activity.
good.
Thank you guys once again for taking some time to talk to us, and thank you so much, Heather, for joining us while you were visiting the campus.
Yeah, thank you for
Very
having
nice of
me.
you. And thank you all for watching the Star Wars After Show presented by Verizon. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode. And as always, for more Star Wars show, check out youtube.com/Star Wars, starwars.com, or the Star Wars app. Thanks again, and may the Force be with you.